Hello, everyone. I see lots of our friends in the chat, and I want to welcome everyone that might catch the replay later on. There's Jay and Trish. Let me scroll through here. And Miss Lori and Judy, hello, and Donna. Let's see here. I don't want to miss anybody. All right. Esmeralda, hello. Debbie and Susan and Julia, hello. Tanya, long time no see, Tanya. Natalie, hello. Let's see here. Thank you, Miss Lori. Okay, so tonight I am stepping out of my comfort zone a little bit. So the other night, Tuesday night, I created this card right over here behind me live with the little bird, and it's very froofy. It's very this is very me, my normal thing. Tonight I wanted to make a die cut card, and it's going to be St. Patrick's Day-esque. I wanted to use die cuts, and I'm always really inspired by one of our design team members named Christy Marcotte, and she does videos on her own YouTube channel, plus she does videos for Honeybee, and she's amazing at using our pattern paper and die cuts and things like that, and doing some coats. Out of comfort zone inspiration. Yes, it is for me. And this is also a really great card design basic, I think, for beginner card makers, because we can use a lot of our just shape dies that we have. I'm going to use a lot of different shape dies tonight, and I'll walk through that. I am going to put one of our newer sentiments on it. And then I'm going to create a little shamrock out of heart dies. And so it's kind of me out of the comfort zone. And I'm going to walk you through kind of what the crazy is going through my head to kind of make it all come together. And I'll kind of walk you through too, like what I look for when I'm mixing pattern papers and things like that. Hey, Irene. And I'll kind of talk to you a little bit about that, like when you're mixing patterns and mixing colors and things like that. And believe it or not, our paper pads, our pattern paper pads, make it really easy because they're all kind of made to coordinate together, like the colors and stuff. Not all the patterns are, but we'll kind of walk through that, or I'll walk you through the crazy in my brain. Okay, so I'm going to go down to my desk here, and I have, as I mentioned, like a whole bowl. I've got a scrap paper here. We're going to use that for our sentiment. And another thing that I don't normally do, hardly ever, is a 5x7 card. So this is an A7 size card. And then we're going to add, some of our die cuts and things to that. So I'm going to jump in here. And the first thing that I'm going to do, because I kind of want to let it set up a little bit, is I'm going to heat emboss our sentiment onto black paper. And I just had a scrap piece out of my scrap pile. And let's go ahead and pull through my little stack of goodies here. It was kind of fun to go through like all my different shape dies, like our basic shapes, like circles and squares and rectangles and things like that, to pick things out. Okay, so I don't necessarily have a sentiment that says, lucky or happy St. Patrick's Day or anything like that. But I'm going to use this wishing you the best of everything. I think that will be super cute on kind of a St. Patrick's Day-esque card. And I also think that the way I'm going to use the heart dies to create a little clover, I think that you could probably do the same thing and create little like little basic cute flowers or something. When you kind of want to, do something different, not necessarily use a lovely layers or something like that, but you want to do something a little bit basic, something that's quick, and then is going to make a really cute card. Okay, so I'm going to load this puppy up because I am going to use white embossing powder. And normally, if you're going to emboss white on black, usually that's going to be the messiest. So I'm going to use our clear watermark ink. Let me slide this over here. Let's see here. And I'm going to ink this up. Let's see. Tanya says she's stuck at home. She's going crazy. Medical leave. Due date is, oh my gosh, it's coming up. Likely before the beginning of May. Tanya, though, like what a blessing, because, you've been hanging out with us for so long, and I'm so excited for you. So I'm glad that you're kind of taking it easy and you're on leave and stuff like that. So, all right. So I've got that all inked up. Now let's see if I can make this pretty without making a total mess with the white embossing powder here. And so I'm going to use my Brutus Monroe Alabaster. Hello, Irma in Southern California. And I'm going to pour this over and then do a tap, 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 tap. And let's see. That's looking pretty clean. Look at me. Okay, let's do a double coat just for good measure there. Not too shabby. I'm kind of impressed with myself. I shouldn't get too ahead of myself, though. I'll get cocky and then I'll mess something up. Okay, so let's look here. I'm going to take my dry brush, and I see just a couple little white particles hanging out on the side here. And I'm just going to sweep those out of the way so they're not part of my die cut when I die cut this out. Okay, well, here we go. All right. You're welcome, Tanya. Wish it was for other reasons other than what it is. My friend, a high risk. Oh, no. Okay. Yeah, I totally get it, Tanya. I went through a similar situation as you, and I totally get it. And I totally get like the bed rest and stuff like that. And you go antsy, you get really antsy and, want to be able to do things. But okay, so now we've got our little sentiment. And then I'm going to lay this aside and let that, because it kind of stays sticky like wet paint for a little bit. And I'm going to let that dry. Okay, so let's get into some of our other die cuts here. So I've got some layers here that I'm going to set aside. And then we have what I'm going to do our little shamrock out of. And you can see I've got some of our cute little gingham paper. And I wanted a stem. So we're going to get creative here. This happens to be a stem from our lovely Layers strawberries. And I'm going to use this to adhere all my little shamrock petals. And then, of course, this is going to be the stem that kind of hangs down. Okay, so we're getting creative. And, of course, I could have just cut a straight piece of paper or a little sliver of paper, but I thought this would be easy. And then my little heart petals are going to have something to hold on to when we glue them down. All right, I'm going to take my bone folder and I'm going to line up the center of the heart here in the little ridge and then the point in my little score buddy. And I'm going to score it right down the center, and we're going to give it kind of a little bit of a fold. And so it's going to give it just a little bit of movement there. And so you may have noticed as I was moving stuff out of the way that one of my pattern papers is a black and white gingham, and this is a green and white gingham. And it kind of works together, even though they're two of the same pattern. But if you'll notice, this one is super teeny tiny. So this size kind of works. Let me get it in the screen here. Do you see how the sizes of the gingham kind of work together, even though it's the same pattern? Even white with green and then white with black. So that's one little thing that I was looking for. Like I could have cut this out of green and white gingham, but it was the same size as the black and white. And it looked off a little bit. Not as visually pleasing as the two different sizes of the check. Okay, so now I've got all my little petals folded up, my little hearts, and I'm just going to take some of our liquid. Hey, Gail. Hey, Sharon. Yes, I'm going to make a clover. So I've used heart dies, and let me show you. I'm being a really bad hostess this evening. So our hearts are these stacking hearts. These are older, and I've just used, this little small heart here. If you wanted a bigger flower or a bigger clover, of course, you could do a big one and it be like the center of your card or something like that. And so now, and then I'm going to cheat. And this, as I mentioned earlier, is the stem and the backer piece to one of the blossoms in our Lovely Layers strawberry set. And so I'm going to use that to cheat for a stem for my little clover. And so I'm just going to kind of, let me see here. I got to get my glue going here. While I'm doing that, I'm going to look at my comments. Let's see here. Yes, making a clover. Let's see, a little chilly and rainy. Southern California. Okay. Connie, hello. All of you are so friendly and sweet. We have this whole little like honeybee community here, don't we? Where we recognize each other's names, and it's kind of fun. Okay, so now I'm going to start just kind of making my way around here and adding my little faux clover petals. And I'm going to do a 4-leaf clover. And I'm just going to keep adding around here just like that. And I may have to fuss with it just for a second to get them all to grab hold. There we go. Okay, so I've got it kind of looking like so. Let me kind of move this little guy before he dries. And that's another nice thing about liquid adhesive. Okay, so this is what we have so far. And see, that's going to be really cute, I think. He's a little wonky. He doesn't have to be perfect. I'm going to fold these up just a little bit. And you can't even see the little backer piece underneath there. Okay, so that's just heart dies and then a stem that I pulled from something completely random. Okay, so I'm going to lay this little guy aside. And then let's get into this. So I mentioned mixing different cardstocks. Okay, so I'm going to start out with just a basic base layer. And I mentioned before, I normally do not do 5x7 cards. And so I wanted it big. I wanted this nice green border around the edge. And so I'm using kind of what would be a neutral, but this is kind of a whitewashed wood plank from our, what's it called? Oh my gosh, the name just, Grain and Grunge. Okay, so here's grain and grunge. Tons of just great basic wood grains. And then I used one of our stitched rectangles to cut that out. So that's going to start with our base. And I'm going to adhere that. Let's see here. I like the limey green. I do too. It's limey green. That citron color is just so happy. I mean, you could always use like a grassy green or like a mowed lawn or something like that. But I think this limey green is kind of happy. Okay, so I'm just going to put that down. And then I'm going to hold it up a little bit and just make sure everything is nice and straight before we go any further. Okay, now here is that black and white gingham check. And you can see now how, the gingham on top of the wood just makes it is like a neutral. So it's going to keep it nice and neutral there. And then we're keeping our color scheme. We have our lime green that's going to coordinate back to our green card base. Plus we have our checks going on, but they're not really competing with one another because of the size. And let me show you what I mean by that, if I can find it. Okay, so for example, this is kind of it takes me forever to decide pattern paper. So you can see I almost use this one. But do you see when I start laying down these different, and it's the same size, it's okay, it looks cute, but it kind of just they all go together. Even if I flip it over and do the white and the green, do you see how they kind of go together and they almost kind of compete? But if you do change up the size, a little polka dot would be super cute on this. Or even just a solid green like this, maybe you do a polka dot or something back here. So I'm just kind of thinking through the madness of my brain here as I start thinking about, how I want to set up everything. Okay, so this is going to be a little layer right through here. And for those of you that have come in late or, popped in late, I am kind of challenging myself tonight to do kind of a layered cardstock card with a lot of our very basic dies that are just simple shapes. Back to basics here. This would be a really good card for a beginner card maker. Easy design. Okay, now I'm going to make sure that this little puppy is all nicely lined up here before I let it dry into place. Okay. Now this is what we have so far. Okay, now here we're bringing in, it doesn't quite match. It's a little bit darker. It does have a tiny bit of a print on there with the little hearts. This is also from our Happy Hearts paper pad. You can see here. I used my little banner sentiment dies, this long one, and I kind of strategically cut because I wanted the little hearts to be in what's going to be a ribbon. It's going to be a paper ribbon instead of using a cloth or tying a bow or twine or something like that. We're going to pretend. And so I used this longest little fishtail banner with the green paper and the hearts. And then again, the little hearts are going to kind of mimic back here to the shape that we have going on right here. And so I want my little ribbon banner is going to stretch, and it's not quite long enough. So I'm going to show you what I'm going to do to make it longer than what it actually is. So, and you can see there's that little green and white gingham paper again. And I'm just going to line it up right. I'm going to use the wood, the slats in the wood to get it all nice and straight. And I want it almost to go all the way to the edge. And this edge is a tiny bit short. So I'm going to do this here. I'm going to lay this over the top. Just like that. And I'm not going to let this side lay down. And I am going to give it a haircut. Okay, now I've got a little paper banner that's going to go all the way across from edge to edge. It's a little bit of a darker green. All right, now let's make a little landing place for our shamrock. And I'm just getting these. Okay, I keep getting adhesive. I'll rub that off here in a minute. 2 circles from our Sweet Stacks circle sets. I love these. If you're going to start out with any kind of like basic dies, like all of our Sweet Stack series are going to be amazing, because you can see I started out with just the little white circle. And I'll show you here in just a second. So I started out with my design kind of like this. And I was like, that I'm not liking. Like, that needs to stand out a little bit more. It needs something. And so I cut the next size up in black. And it's going to make it right along in here. And now that's going to give that a nice little black landing place. And it's going to make that where we're going to put our little shamrock, it's going to make it pop off of the front. And it makes it where it doesn't blend in with all of our background papers that we have going on here. All right, so I'm going to adhere my little circles. And then let's adhere the white one on the top. And kind of make sure that it's all nice and straight all the way around. There we go. And then he is going to rest right in there. Okay, so this is how we're looking so far. And then now our cute little shamrock is going to have a little resting place. Okay, do you see how, like, my brain, the method to the madness is like all coming together here. Everything's kind of all blending together. Okay, so I think I'm going to glue our circle, our little resting place. I'm going to glue this down flat. And it's going to go right in there. We're kind of coming off the edge right here. I've covered up where I cut and made my little pretend ribbon, pretend little banner there, where I've cut that, and I can hide that. We're going to let that glue do its thing. And then this already has dimension with our cute little curled up, our little petals that we made out of hearts. And you can see my silly little stem that I made. And I'm just going to dab some liquid glue here. And then I don't think I want him completely straight up and down here. I think I want the stem cocked over just to the side, just a little bit. And it's going to give it, just a little bit of more interest there. There we go. And then that adhesive is going to set up just like that. All right. So we've got all this done. So let's go ahead and do our sentiment. All right. So I always like to, once it's all nice and dry, that embossing powder where we've set it, I just kind of take my fingers, and usually the oils from your fingers are going to take off a lot of that the anti-static powder, I should say. Now, I can tell you that on camera, as weird as it is, it's picking up like a lot more of that gray from the anti-static powder than what you see in real life. Like for my eyeballs, you don't see it as much as you guys see it on the screen. Okay, plus we're going to die cut it with the coordinating die here. So I'm just going to line this up. And this sentiment set is called Best of Everything. And I'll kind of get it here. This is a new one from our Happy Hearts release. So I'm going to make sure everything's nicely lined up. Let's see here. I see a gem going in the middle of the shamrock. I think that you might be right, Miss Lori. A gem or a pearl or something. I think we need just a little bit of something. Okay, I'm going to pull out my good old handy dandy, the trusty bitty buzz cutter here. Put my little plate down. And we'll get this kind of run through there. And we'll pop that out. And then we set this aside so I don't lose my die for that. Okay, now let's see how we want to add this. I think I'm going to add it right down in this area, and I may pop it up a little bit. Look how cute that's going to be. Okay, so let's take one of these little narrow foam strips. I love these, especially for little sentiments like this, because you can kind of hide it back here in these narrow little spaces. And look at that. That's the perfect fit. Okay, so I'm going to press it down and then we'll peel off the backer. Any glitz happening? I think we're going to have to pull in some glitz. I think we're going to have to do like either some gems or some pearls or a little bit of something. Okay, and then I think I'm going to place this kind of right here in the center, right down there. Okay. All right. That's looking pretty good so far. All right. What do you guys think of my crazy brain creation here, where we're kind of making a whole little St. Patty's Day theme out of just basic dies that we have on hand? It's not anything that was specifically designed for St. Patrick's Day. All right. Let me get my little stash here. All right, let's see what we have. All right, so let's go through. You can see I've got a real problem here. All right, so here's the Happy Hearts pearls, and we know that they've got green. All right, so this is what the pearl looks like. That's really darn cute. So do I go with more green? I could also do black. I don't know about a black one in there, although it doesn't look too bad. And then I could sprinkle maybe a couple up in here. What are we thinking, guys? Or then we have gems. Okay, let me find my coordinating gems. Okay, so here's black gems, little gems, or Happy Hearts. Here's the Happy Hearts gems. Here is the green gems. All right, well, let's see. Yeah, gems. Beautiful card. Ooh, with the strawberry dice. That would be cute with a little strawberry there. It would be dang cute. And with the black and white is so like little strawberry, summery, farmy. That would be totally cute. Green pearls. I was thinking the green pearls too looked really nice. And it kind of like blends everything together, doesn't it? And I mean, for St. Patrick's Day, you really can't go wrong with green, right? Okay. So there's that. Let me try not to make a mess. I just reorganized and cleaned up all my pearls and gems and everything. So let's try not to make a giganto mess. Okay. So I'm thinking this darker green here, and I want to put, let's do a big one in the center, like so. And you could stop right there and it be like totally cute, right? But you know, I'm not going to stop right there. Okay, so let's do, I want to do just a little, maybe a little sprinkle. And then let's do maybe one. Okay. And then let's do one more tiny one. Come on. There we go. There we go. Okay. And then let's just do a little sprinkle. Okay. Okay, so what do you guys think about our one? It's a big 5x7 card. So a normal A2 card is about this. So when you're working with a big space here, it's kind of fun to do all the little mix-ups and things. And now you can kind of see like the black and white gingham looks cute with the teeny tiny check of the little petals. And then we have black and black and black here, and green and green and green. It all just kind of flows together. Let's see here. I just love this with the pearls. Thank you, Sharon. Thank you, Lori. Okay, let's do a little one of these numbers, and then we can kind of talk about it. Okay, so have you guys, I don't normally make cards like this where I'm taking other products like the hearts and making something completely like not necessary, out of the box, we should say. Out of the box crafting, where we're not using it for its intended purpose, we should say. Let's say very good balance. Thank you. I think it's a little bit fun. But you could do the little clover. You could add more petals and make it a little daisy. Let's say we had a green stem and we did white little petals and added the little daisy or a little something onto, obviously not a white background, but you could make it a little spring daisy. I haven't made a big card in a while. Neither have I, Sherry. Normally I don't do that. Did I coordinate with my black shirt? I did not. And if I go up, it's got a big sunshine and helicopters and stuff on it. My husband is a helicopter pilot, so let's see here. Easy way to stretch. Exactly, Tane. Any easy way to stretch your card supplies. And I know a lot of you were mentioning, especially the other night, that you've gotten your friends into card making and you craft with friends. This would be this kind, not necessarily this card, but this design with pattern paper and kind of layering and then add a sentiment or something like that. That's a good way for a beginning card maker to kind of learn how to do pattern paper or work with pattern paper and die cuts and add a pretty sentiment or something like that. So it's really a great, Natalie can definitely see Chrissy Mark. Exactly. I'm so inspired by how she can take one of our paper pads and do like 80 cards with one paper pad. And I normally, from what let's see if I can find it. Like I normally do, you guys see me do this type of card. And so you can see both are adorable, just totally different. And everybody has kind of their own card making style. But it's kind of fun to take and do, you know, the out of the box and use them like that. Let's see here. This bird, this is the card I made on Tuesday night. So you can always go back and check the replay if you like that. But super easy peasy. Just did our stencils and then added one of our little birds. All right. So Lisa, I think we are ready for our giveaway tonight. And then while Lisa is choosing our giveaway winner, I want to remind everybody that next Tuesday we start sneak peeks right here for our upcoming spring release. Oscars in Buffalo. You are the winner. Oscars in Buffalo. So if you'll email me at kelley@honeybeestamps.com, I will get you your prize. So sneak peeks start on Tuesday, and then the spring release goes live on March the 15th. Congratulations. All right, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Thank you, as always, for joining me, and I hope you'll come back for a sneak peek next week. I always love sneak peeks and getting into the springtime. All right, guys, have a wonderful weekend, and bye-bye.